Hi guys! So today's video had a technical malfunction and I don't have time to re-record and edit and all that, so I thought, you know what, I'll just hop on live, do it this way. So much easier. Let me just close that off. No, we don't want to do that. For some reason, my microphone isn't picking up and I don't know why. I don't know how to fix it. Which is the technical malfunction I had earlier. So if I sound strange, it's because I'm using my Mac audio. But it seems to be working so far. Ugh, right. First off, there is a link in the video description down there for a free PDF that is basically my page that I'm going to show you in a minute because I haven't, my bookmarks come out again. This is why I don't like sodding bookmarks. Ugh, they bug me so much. There. Now I won't be tempted to use the stupid things. Ugh. Nothing more annoying than bookmarks that keep coming out. This is why I like page flags. They're stuck. They will stay there. Anyway. Hi guys. Okay. One of the big things about bullet journaling that is coming up over and over and over and over again is people saying, oh, I thought bullet journaling was all like arty and stuff. I can't do any of that, so I thought I couldn't do bullet journaling. Oof. I'm not going to say there's nothing creative about bullet journaling, because there is. If you have a creative type brain, bullet journaling works in a creative type way for you. If there's Inlay brought up this subject. I was trying to find your question to read it out, but I can't find it and it was really long anyway. But Inlay's question was, I'm not arty, I'm not an artist, I can't draw. I'm not interested particularly in doing elaborate layouts or anything like that. I have discovered the bullet journal in the basic format that Ryder intended it. Yes, Sherry, I'm creative, but I'm not artsy. Okay? You don't want to be doing all this elaborate layouts. Great. Okay. We're on the same page, because neither do I. If I'm going to spend time on my art, I'm going to do it in my sketchbook, or on a painting on my easel, or somewhere that it will be of use. Now, when I say art, I mean art, because I'm an artist, okay? I literally mean illustrations, art journal pages, paintings that I sell, classes that I record, or tutorials that I do for you guys, all of that kind of stuff. I do not mean sketches. Now, please bear in mind, I am a professional artist. What I call a sketch, you might call a finished painting or a finished piece, okay? It doesn't matter. If you define it as a sketch, that is what is important. If you define it as a finished piece, that is what is important. Now, as far as creativity goes, I'm going to say what Ryder has said in one of his interviews, several of his interviews, in fact. He says, he talks about scrapbooking. He used to be a scrapbooker. I get the feeling he doesn't mean scrapbooking the way we would think of scrapbooking. He doesn't strike me as that type. But maybe he is. Maybe he did like to do the pretty stickers and stuff. Who knows? He now keeps his photography digitally. But he said when he first started bullet journaling, he used to do that kind of stuff in his bullet journal with his photographs because he loves his photography. And somehow the conversation got around to, and what about all this pretty stuff and layouts and everything that everybody talks about when you look up bullet journaling. And, you know, basically it's a plethora of beautiful pages on Pinterest, which I'm not saying anything wrong with them, okay? That is a version of bullet journaling. If that's what floats your boat, if that is what keeps you motivated to come back to your bullet journal every single day, that is your creative outlet, if you enjoy it, that's fine. Do it. Great. Enjoy it. Keep posting those pictures on Pinterest because we love seeing them. But for those of us who don't have the time for all that, don't have the skill for all that, don't have the expertise, the patience, or just, you know, I don't want to have all of my planning and lists and organisation and notes and everything else shoved in with sketches and things where I can't see the wood for the trees. I want sketches, and I want planning, and I want journaling, and they all fit in nice little boxes. And Ryder calls these little boxes collections. And that's how we're going to approach it. Now, here's the quote. Is a bullet journal a scrapbook? Brackets, insert, sketchbook, bullet journal, planner, this, that and the other, whatever it is that you extra use in there for scrapbook. Is a bullet journal a scrapbook? No. Can you scrapbook in a bullet journal? Absolutely. That's how you have to think of it. Is a bullet journal a glue book? No. Can you do a glue book page in your bullet journal? Yeah, if you want to. Is it a sketchbook? No. Can I grab a ballpoint pen and do some drawing? Yes, if I want to. The key question is, does it add value? That's always the question with bullet journaling. Does taking my time to do this add value to my life, to me, to my bullet journal, to future me that's looking through my bullet journal at the end of the year, whatever? If taking that few minutes to draw a truly terrible doodle of your 2-year-old happily playing on the floor and making a little note of how happy she is, and that will make your day when you look back at it later in the week and go, oh gosh, it's only Friday and I'd already forgotten about that. Or when you pull it out and go to grandma, hey, look what we did. This is her playing. You know, grandmas, for the most part, don't tend to go, oh, that's terrible. Why did you bother drawing that? They go, oh, isn't that lovely? Did you take a photo? Can I have a copy of that for the fridge? You know, if it adds value, it's fine. If it doesn't add value, don't do it. And while we're on the subject, and I get very ranty about this, so it's best not to ask me to elaborate. But when we say being creative in your bullet journal, creative does not mean art. Okay? It does not mean art. It can mean art. A bullet journal can be used for scrapbooking, but it isn't a scrapbook. Creativity is not art. Art is a type of creativity. There are loads of types of creativity, and I'm going to have something for absolutely everybody in this list. So, as I said at the beginning, if you missed it, list down below in PDF form. If you want to print it out, it's a copy of my page here. Illustrations are not mine. They are from a magazine called Breathe, and they're by Emma Block Illustrations, and I wrote it on the bottom here so that you've got her Instagram. I've also put it in the description below. But this is a free giveaway. I'm not reselling her art or anything like that, and I am crediting her, so I don't think Emma would mind. And by the way, she's got a fantastic book out if you want to learn how to do this yourself. It is one of the best books on simple drawing and colouring that I have ever seen. It's called The Joy of Watercolor, and I've actually linked it in my Amazon shop down below. Just follow the link to the link and look for The Joy of Watercolor. It's there. Okay? I've got a list of 20 things, and this is just off the top of my head that I came up with the other day. Now, I already recorded this video once today, but it didn't have any audio. I don't know why. Weird stuff happened. I think my thing might have come unplugged. I don't know. Anyway, that last time I went down the list and I struggled to find the pages. So this time I'm just going to start at the beginning of the book because I've got plenty of examples. Here's my first example, and if you've been following me on Instagram, you'll have seen me post some of these. If you like to colour, you're not arty, but you enjoy a bit of colouring. Why not stick colouring pages on the end pages of your book? They're going to make no difference whatsoever to this bit of your book. None. But you've got a nice end paper at both edges of your book. You can play with a little bit of colouring as and when you feel like it. You've got an entire 400-page book to get through, so it's not like you have to do it all today. It's a colouring page, so it doesn't actually matter if you don't fill it all in either. It's just something that, you know, you're sitting there, you happen to be having lunch with the kids have got the crayons out on the table, you think, oh, I'll pull out my bullet journal while they're doodling on their little mat things in McDonald's or whatever it is, and I'll colour in my sketchbook. Why not? If nothing else, you've got a beautiful end page in your sketchbook, and if you don't want to colour it in, you don't have to. You can also colour designs like this, you can colour them in black and white, or you can doodle, you could Zentangle on each leaf if you want to do something like that. There's loads of different things you could do with this. And if you don't want to colour, you just want something pretty at the end of your book, why not just grab a nice piece of scrapbook paper and stick that in instead? Or gift wrap. Maybe you've got some really nice gift wrappers. Maybe you got... I'll come back to that, Marika. Maybe you got a really nice birthday gift and it came with some really stunning gift wrap. Why not put some of that in? Why not cover this page with stickers that you find? Or one really interesting magazine spread. Again, it's not going to affect any of this. So if you don't want any creativity in this bit, doesn't mean you don't have to have it anywhere else. Doesn't mean you can't jazz up these end pages. Coloured page flags. Do I need to say anything more? Add a bit of colour. Incidentally, another one that I thought this morning, actually, because Aveline did a video where she said she was using a black pen. She was kind of getting bored. Now, she's come from, I think she used to colour code. But she's kind of getting bored with a black pen. Well, guess what? You don't always have to use a black pen. Just because Ryder Carroll likes the black and white minimalist look, and I like the black minimalist look with a ballpoint pen, doesn't mean you can't just pick up a green pen one day if that's what you feel like using. Use a different pen every day. Add some variety, add some colour. You don't have to colour code to have different colours. Sasha on Instagram, I'll have to look up her handle. She has a Hobonichi that she journals in, and she journals in sections or blocks, and she does each one in a different colour, which is fantastic if you're like a fountain pen user or something and you just want to do little blocks of journaling, or you want to use a different ink every day. Why not? Go for it. If your paper can handle it, what's the problem? Marika's asking me about books, beginners books on urban sketching. There are lots of books on urban sketching. I could recommend lots of them, but really, all you have to do is go out and draw. Thomas Thorsbecken, actually, his book is one of the best ones. What you're really asking for is beginners drawing books. Because urban sketching is just like sketching at your desk, except you go out there and do it. That's all there is. If you really want a really simple, I've got a pencil, I've got a couple of bits of either watercolour or pens or pencils, you can apply all the different techniques to it, and you just want to be able to draw a house or a park or a tree or your dog and colour it in, I highly, highly recommend Emma Block's book. The Joy of Watercolor, we've been using it in class. Actually, actually, as a tutorial guide, this one, it's fabulous. Super simple. You can get into all the nitty gritty of using particular colours if you want, or you can just copy her tutorials. You know, she does super simple illustrations, super simple drawings. Even this, I mean, this is complex for people drawing, but look at her sketch. It's so simple. She tells you every step of the way, from the initial sketch, how to do it, then what to do next, what to colour first, what to add to it, what to do next, how to finish it off, how to add details, all of it. And you could just as easily do this with coloured pen or pencil, or even crayons, or just black and white if you wanted to, without having to use watercolours. This is a really good book, and she's got a whole section in the back on going out sketching, and look how simple her scenes are. How to draw a basic house. There's not many people couldn't draw that. If you need confidence to go out and draw, well, take a child with you. Make it fun. Take a child, take a friend, go out and have some fun. Join your local urban sketching group and go and sit with somebody who's way better at art than you, and then everybody will be looking at them and not you. That's what I do. Okay. Incidentally, Emma's book is really good if you just want to add a bit of creativity to your book because you want to do a bit of doodling. Like Burgess does a bit of doodling here and there in her book. If that's the kind of thing you want to do, highly recommend it. Well, if you don't have an Urban Sketchers group, you can start one, Burgess. You only need 2 other people. Let me just flip through. Add a sticker. There's an easy way to add some creativity. It's One Book July, so I added a One Book July sticker. Page signifiers. I've talked about this before. I've got a different one for most pages. This one's a diary page because it's a monthly page. This one is an idea page, so it's got a little bullet sign, same as the other one here. This one, idea page, so it's got a bullet sign. This is a witchy pages, have stars. Passion project has hearts. All sorts of things you can do. If you're using books in a similar way to me, where you're using a 2-page spread, so you never really have to look at this side of the page for any information. You're always just flicking through looking at this side for your titles and your pages and your signifiers. Why not add bits of washi tape to the top of this page? If you are separating pages, I'm going in a different order. Let me go back to where I started. There we go. When you've finished your pages, you'll often find that you've got a little bit of space at the bottom, so why not print out a photograph that goes with the day? Or, if you went to the cinema, stick in your movie ticket. Or write a review of the film. Print out a mini poster version of the film and put that in. Perhaps you just finished a really good book. You could print out the cover of the book and write a book review. If you prefer something more formal, Moleskine has an entire site full of all sorts of review stuff that you can print out just to stick straight into your book. So you can print out a book review, a wine review, whatever else it is you want to do. Films, I think they do, all sorts. Literally, they are printables free on Moleskine's website. Go print them out, stick them in your book. The advantage of them being Moleskine size is that if you're using an A5 book, they'll still fit. And if you're using an A6 book, you just print them half size. So you print 2 to a page and they'll come out the right size. Print mini pictures of every book you read. Yeah. And if you don't want to write a book review, guess what? You could set out 1-page spread like this. Books I've read this year. Picture. Picture, 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 picture. You might even go as far as writing the time it took you to read it. Read January, read February, read March 4th to March 18th. Hobonichi has printables too. Excellent. Those will be A6 and A5. But knowing Hobonichi, they've probably got quite wide spaces around the outside, so you can trim them down to fit an A5 Slim or a B6 Slim, which is these. Pre-cut washi stickers. I love my vellum stickers. Even if you don't want anything fancy, you just want something eye-catching, why not use a label for your day? Or a label for your title, if you want it to stand out. Equally, you could do your titles in calligraphy without having to do anything else. If you just like doing fun titles, why not pencil in the title that you want for now? And when you've got time, when you fancy doing a little bit of calligraphy, go back and do your calligraphy practice. And it doesn't have to be brush lettering, okay? There are loads of ways of doing calligraphy. If nothing else, go on Dafont, DAFONT.com. Find a font you like, type in the words that you want to print, and you get a little thing on the screen that you can copy into your book. Super simple. When you do your reviews, use a different colour pen. That's kind of creative. Oh, there's another picture that I added. Coloured page flags. Now mine are functional, but they don't have to be. Use sketch notes. I'm not very good at sketch notes. I prefer written notes, which is kind of weird. I like written notes with diagrams, kind of a scientific look to it. But if you're a sketch noter, why not write sketch notes? Even if you don't do them for things like the bullet journal method necessarily, if you've got something like a short article, which is what I happen to write here. This is a short article. I had a big space here, so I wrote it on here. I could equally have used this for notes or pictures. I added a doodled border just to make it stand out as something different to the rest of the page. I coloured the outline of the top. All this does is make this stand out. So when I'm flipping through, I see that and I go, there's that article I was looking for. And because I've spent time with this article, and you know, every time I come back to this page, I colour in another one of these. I haven't sat down and done it all in one go. If you want to be nice and sweet about it, go on Pinterest, find some interesting borders and copy them. Go and follow Joanna from, what's her surname? Can't remember. Joanna from Sakura. She does all sorts of little dingle dangles and stuff. Cute little stuff that you can do really easily. You don't have to be amazing at this. It doesn't have to look good. It just has to be something fun that you enjoy. But if it's not fun, or you don't enjoy it, it's not adding value to your bullet journal, so get rid of it. Trackers, obviously, those are creative. We might think of them as, it's a list, I'm going to do that. But it doesn't have to be. There's lots of different ways of doing trackers. Boho Berry is the queen of trackers. She can do pie charts, graphs. She does bookshelves, all sorts of stuff. And I believe the last time I went on her site, she had some free printables. And if you go on Pinterest, there's free printables. You can get free printables of a bookshelf with lots of books on, with nothing else on it. You could write the title of your book and colour the book in. Why not? It's fun. It's different. The key to this is, and you'll notice I don't clutter up my pages functionally, okay? This is a functional page. It's not cluttered with a load of crap. I don't set up my pages in advance. There's nothing set up in advance. Everything here is I've got one page there because I know that I've got a load of notes that I want to keep together with that page. I've left one page blank. Other than that, I don't set up anything in advance. I've just got a line at the top of my page. And I do that when I'm just sitting doing nothing. I just finish numbering my pages and stuff. I don't set anything else up. And yet I've still got creative stuff in my book. Create a decorative something or other for on your page. So this was, what did I call it? Let me just check what I called it. Make a vision board. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. Make a vision board for a room decoration, party plan, outfit, etc. This is something we all do regularly. Why not make it visual? But I do it as a collection on its own. And I think that's the difference for me. This is not shoved in on my daily pages. This is a collection on its own. If I clipped this page together, it would make no difference. It's still my bullet journal. I just happen to have a couple of photographs in here. And what I've done is I've printed out the pictures that I really like, and then next to it, with the bullet journal method, I've put down what I really like about that picture. Now this is actually a project I'm going to use. What printer do I use to print my pictures? I just print them on my HP. I used to use my pocket printer, my Pocket Pogo. Absolutely adore my Pogo Polaroid, but I've got an iPhone now and I can't print it. I can print from my laptop, but that means I have to move it from my phone to my laptop, and then from my laptop onto the software, and then from my software onto the Pogo. I can just as easily like select 5 images and just print them straight to my printer. And these are on sticky paper. It's another good reason for doing it on the printer. You can either do it as a photo, proper photo. I have a proper photo. If you're looking for a little mini printer like this, Courtney, Little Raven Ink, swears by her HP Sprocket. And for Androids, Mimi, our fourth girl in One Book July, the digital girl, she swears by her LG. So there's lots of options out there. Why can't you just use the cloud to share photos? How can I share photos to a book via the cloud? Am I missing something there? I still have to go... Do you mean like on iCloud? That's how I do it. But I've still got to go over to my laptop and print it on the printer. Because the Pogo is set up to the laptop. That's what I'm doing. That's what I just said. I just send them to my LG. My HP. I don't use my Pogo anymore. Sorry. That's all I do. That's what I do. I just print them on my phone. Print them straight to my phone. Because otherwise I have to go through all the steps. Sorry, that's why I'm not using my Pogo anymore. Did you miss that bit? Maybe Susan's not actually talking to me. That's just occurred to me. Maybe she's talking to somebody in the comments. Sticky paper. Yeah, I use A4 mailing papers. It's one sheet of A4 that's sticky and you just print all your photos on it, dump them all in, print it out, cut them out, job done. If you don't want to use photos, there's always magazines. It's not hard. This is from a calendar. I loved this guy. He's so cute. I touch his nose every time. He's going to have no nose by the time I finish this book, because I rub his nose every time I open this page. But I really liked him and I had a big space there, so I put him in. I don't know why that's hidden. Yep, a fussy cut, big circle punch, big pair of scissors. Your Pogo won't print from your phone anymore either. Yeah, that's why I've got it hooked up to my laptop. The Pogo isn't iPhone compatible. confused. It doesn't print. It doesn't print from iCloud. It doesn't print from Bluetooth. It doesn't print from anywhere. The only way it will print from an Apple device is to have it physically plugged into my laptop. That's why I don't use a Pogo. It's the very first one that ever came out. Like 8 years ago. Technology's moved on a bit since then. Although Apple's moved on a bit since then. Now their Bluetooths work with a lot more things. This is a version of Sketchnotes using notes for your own shorthand. Brenda, you started this. No, I just print to my normal printer. Boom, done. Occasionally I get all fancy with it and I put actual photo paper in my printer and I use actual collage software to put actual collages together, but who has time for that, right? I just select a load of things and it says print them full size or print them all on one page. I'm like, print them all on one page, thank you very much. Yeah, using shorthand, this is for astrology. Obviously astrology has symbols and stuff, but there must be something else, like I'm sure crochet and knitters and stuff like that. That's all got little shorthand doodles and things that they use, doesn't it? Business cards. If you want functional but occasional bits of interest, Ryder says he collects stickers from places he's gone. If he happens to have a sticker or a business card or whatever, that'll go into his book. So there you go. There's a business card that I found. If you fancy doing some lettering, why not create a lettering section for a quote, or this is a meme that I found on Instagram. You know, all those things on Instagram that you save and never do anything with? Well, when you're sitting there going, oh, I fancy doing something creative, but I don't know what to do, flick back through your bullet journal, find a space, flick through Instagram and go, oh, yeah, I like that one. I'll do that one. And you don't even have to do it fancy. This is just capital letters with a box around it. This one back here is even simpler. I printed the quote out. Where's it gone? Or is it further forward? Nope, there it is. I printed the quote out. And then this is 3 lines of washi tape. And I stuck the quote over the top. And then I got all fancy and added a sticker. Still creative. And it fills that 5-minute need of, oh, I fancy making something. Yep, random quotes and empty spaces. Absolutely. Just write them bigger than you normally would. Doesn't have to be fancy. Or write them with one of those italic pens. That works with wonders. Writing with an italic pen instead of a ballpoint or something, because all you've got to do is hold it in one direction and you automatically have fancy writing. Another thing you can do, which is for the slightly more arty amongst you and or writers, simply turn the page and create a collection. Ta-da! I just turned a page and did a sketch. Something funny one of the kids said, yeah. You could even put a little photograph of them, a current photograph of them with something funny they said, which makes it a journal entry then. And it's super simple. It's like 2 seconds to print a photo and add something funny. This is where I'm finding it easier to use this. Now, bear in mind, a lot of you might look at that and go, oh, I couldn't do that. That's art with a capital A, that is. Well, for me, it's not. For me, it's a horrendous doodle that I did with a ballpoint pen in about 20 minutes. This is not art for me, but I'm a professional artist, okay? My level of sketching is way above yours if you don't do art. So don't feel put off if your sketching looks more like this than like this. If you enjoyed doing it and it adds value to your bullet journal and it's something that you like, what's wrong with it? I can at any time clip these 2 pages together and they won't be in the way of anything. They won't be distracting. They won't be a nuisance if I'm flicking through. They don't have to be there all the time. Cody does visual reminders in her journal. She kind of does mini sketch notes. Like she'll draw something. She drew something that she saw in a dream the other day. But it's not super artistic. It's just a quick sketch of what she remembered. You can use planner stickers. Instead of writing a task list that says, do the laundry today, why not just put a planner sticker in that's got a laundry basket on? Or one of those cute little Japanese planner stickers with a little girl with a big pile of laundry and ironing. Yeah? Why not do something like that? It's the same thing. It's just a little bit of extra. If you want it. And that's the key. You don't have to get it in your head that, oh, I'm not doing any of this in my bullet journal, so therefore my bullet journal's not... I can't bullet journal. You can. If you're doing this stuff, you're bullet journaling. This is bullet journaling, okay? All of this extra stuff, that's just fluff. And it's totally up to you how much or how little you add. If you want to be Puritan and have black and white stickers, but you still want to use these, totally fine. Here's another creative page. Illustrate something that you're doing. So this is actually a spell that I'm working on, but you could equally write a journal entry and illustrate it. Or you could be taking notes in a book and you've got something that has, maybe you're writing down a recipe, something like that. They're ideal for doing little illustrations for. And the best thing is you can leave the gaps and you could just draw a box and say, oh, I'm going to illustrate in here. I'll draw a box in here. I'll do a little illustration in there. You can do them later. You don't have to do them right now when you're making the notes. You can worry about it later. It's something you can do when you're in a creative mood as opposed to, oh, I just want to jot this recipe down from this magazine. That's not the same mind space because you're thinking, oh, recipes. When can have I got enough bread in to be able to make this? That's a completely different brain space to, oh, let me just draw a frying pan with some eggs in it. You know, that's not the same thing. So leave your creativity for when you feel creative and do it where you have spaces or where you've created spaces for them to go. So if you know you like doing little drawings like this, leave spaces for little drawings like that. Just draw a box. And if necessary, write in the box in pencil what you want to draw there. And then later on, when you sitting watching a film, you think, oh, I fancy doodling something. Flip through your bullet journal. Oh, there's one I was going to illustrate. I'll do that today while I watch this film. I'll do that while I watch YouTube. Or, if you're artistic, you can go all out for it. This is a page I'm working on for Mercury, obviously. Fancy title. Family tree. So diagrams, there's another creative outlet. A lot of people are not particularly into drawing, but they love doing diagrams, mind maps, family trees, all that kind of stuff. That's creative. Doesn't have to be drawing. It can be words, it can be lines, it can be little circles and squares and things that mean something to you. And it doesn't have to be functional either, as long as it's not getting in the way. Of course, you can set up a page in advance, do a title, cut something out of a magazine to put at the bottom, or illustrate it if you want to, BuJo traditional style. But again, this is one page out of an entire book. Let me choose a different page. This is one page out of an entire book, okay? One page. Yep, you could start a whole collection. There's a great one. A whole collection, draw squares and do a Zentangle. Not every day, not twice a day, every reflection you've got to do. Well, you can if you want to. You could set yourself a challenge. but you don't have to. Just start a page of Zentangles. You don't even need a grid. You could just Zentangle on a page and just keep doing and doing and doing until you fill it up. It doesn't matter if you're still working on this Zentangle page when you get way back here. Doesn't matter. You can still fill it in because you've still got all this to go. And if you don't finish it by the time you get to the end of your book, does it matter? No. Family trees, yeah. And you can do fun family trees. You don't, if it's creative and you enjoy that kind of stuff, you could do fun stuff. Like, it doesn't even have to be your family tree. You could do the family tree of the Simpsons if you want to. If it's creative and it's fun and it's something you enjoy doing and it just takes you out of that, oh, I must be doing, into, oh, let's just sit down with a cup of tea and do something fun for a change. Why not? More diagrams. I'm a big diagrams kind of person. I'm loving the diagrams in the bullet journal. Being creative, yeah. And there are different levels of creative. Again, Hannah is a fantastic example. Hannah and Tam. Is it Tam? Tammy? Gypsy 999. The girl who does the iCads. Both of them are seen as super creative people. Everywhere we see them, they're throwing colour at stuff and paint at stuff. They're doing all sorts of stuff. But it doesn't have to be that level of creativity. They started somewhere too. You can keep it simple. Just a highlighter. Tammy of Daisy Yellow. That's the word. That's what I was trying to think of. Daisy Yellow. Yeah. I put both of you in that category because you're super creative people, but a lot of what you do is just throwing paint and colour around. It's stuff anybody could do, but it looks really impressive because you do loads and loads and loads and loads of it. Your output is amazing, girl. But that doesn't mean that it's something other people can't do. Maybe you can't do it as well. I'd struggle to do it as well because I don't have that kind of mind frame. I can't just throw paint around and enjoy it and go, ooh, look, pretty splatters. I'm not that kind of person. I like details. I would have to practice it too. But if that's what you enjoy, why not do it? A very popular thing to do, especially if you've got a Tomo River paper type book, is to just do a watercolour background. Well, why can't you just do a watercolour background for your daily log? Just having a coloured background. Why not? Prep a few pages in advance and just say, okay, those are going to be my daily log pages for the week. Or for however long it takes me to use up those 6 pages. And a picture from a magazine brochure, yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I'm missing a lot of comments, aren't I? There's anybody who's looking for more ideas, read the comments. Dude, there are so many ideas in the comments people are throwing in. Yeah, just plop in some colour. Exactly. Doesn't have to be fancy. You can even just do, you know, maybe you just want a little bit of something just to break up the page. I mean, if you look at this page, some people would just go, God, that's so boring. I need to do something with it, but what do I do? Well, okay, this page is finished, so I could add washi tape or stickers or whatever. But why not just tear the corner off a fancy piece of paper or out of a magazine from a picture that you like and stick it across the corner of the page? Boom. Done. You could add tip-ins, yeah. I'm not a big fan of tip-ins, especially in a 400-page moleskin. I don't feel the need to tip in. But yes, you can tip in, absolutely. That's a good one for postcards and stuff. It needs some washi tape. My bullet journal needs washi tape, Hannah says. I'm not a huge fan of washi tape in this, to be honest. I did use some there. I put some there, look. Used a thin washi tape there. Because I had a line going across here and I didn't like it, so I just covered it with washi tape. And I've put washi tape at the beginning here. You probably missed that one. I printed a quote and I stuck washi tape down on the page, and then I stuck the quote over the top of it. That's quite a lot of washi tape for me. I'm not big into washi taping all the edges of my pages, but you know, that's another one that people enjoy doing. Washi tape the edge of your pages. It's fun, it's functional. How about just decorating your monthly page? So before you do your monthly setup with your calendar and tasks, where's mine? There it is. Before you do this page, leave 2 pages aside, leave them blank, put this in, okay? And then what you're going to do with those pages? Well, you could do something seasonal for July, a la traditional artsy type bullet journals. Traditional, that's not the right word, but you know what I mean. The ones that we normally see. You know, you could do a fancy July page. You could, again, stick in a magazine page. You could stick in something that is themed. Maybe you're going on holiday this week. Maybe you could put in a postcard of where you're going, or the brochure from the hotel, or whatever. What about a vision board for the month? What about a collection of words from magazines that grab your eye? What about writing a short story? What about collecting stickers for that month on your page? What about collecting the wine bottles? The wine bottle labels that you drink that month? Or beer, or real ale, or whatever else it is that floats your boat. These are all the wines we drank this month, or you know, all the real ales we tested this month. Keep a page for kids to draw in. That's a cool idea. Bonus of a small book, it doesn't take much to fill a page. Yeah. Well, it doesn't take much to fill a page in this either, even with my small writing. So, fruit stickers. I collect, and I've done this in every book, and I haven't got one yet in this one. Every single book I have, right from the beginning of when I started keeping journals when I was a kid, has a Terry's chocolate orange sticker in it. Every book I have to have a Terry's chocolate orange sticker. Some of them have several. But every single one of my journals has got a Terry's chocolate orange sticker in it somewhere. How about getting really fancy? Now, I did a Twitch stream on Friday. Some of you may not have seen it if you don't do Twitch. I'm actually going to post it on here this Friday. So I will download the whole thing and put it on here. And if you're a patron, I'll put the ad-free version up for you guys. It'll be available on Friday because I'm not around on Friday. I don't have time to do a video for Friday, so I'm going to use one I've already done. But we spent time doing some of these things, and then I spent a big chunk of time doing some collaging. Now, whether you call it collaging or glue booking or whatever... Oh, I like the blue ones, but I like the red ones better. And I really like the purple ones with the Willy Wonka drip fizzles in. I spent about an hour doing this the other day, from start to finish. I got to go through all my collage boxes and find this, that and the other. There was none of that. I literally just pulled out a couple of magazines, flipped through, picked pages that I liked, picked images that I liked, and then threw them on the page. Now, I've done this a lot, okay? So this is quite advanced for some people. To me, it's just sticking images on a page and filling in the gaps. To other people, it might be an entire spread. That might be something that's taken them several hours to do. Entirely up to you how you do it and what you do. Even if all you do is pull one picture out of a magazine that you really like and put some words on it that you really like. Or put a picture and then do a quote. That's still a creative spread. And I think the trick to this is to keep it in spreads. So again, if I pin those 2 pages together, you'd never know they were there. It's not all through the book. It's just I did a creative spread. When I'd finished, I had a few images left, so I started another one. This is not finished. That's a work in progress. I'll come back to that, and, you know, every so often I'll go, ooh, I like that image. That could go with my collage that I've got going. And I'll throw something else in there. And I'll just keep building on it. I wouldn't normally just sit down and do an entire collage like this. I was just showing the process. Usually I start a collage and I just keep adding to it. Or I start collecting images that go together, and then when I've got enough to add them to the page, then I'll start adding them to the page. You do the opposite of everything I say. Well, you know, if it works for you, it works for you. There you go. There's a fine line between doing this and art, though. Well, that's what I said right at the beginning. You've got to take it to the level. If this is something that would take you 5 hours and this is art with a capital A for you, then maybe this isn't something you want to put in your journal. Maybe your level of creativity is, oh, I like that picture from my calendar. I think I'll stick that in this space here. You've got to decide for yourself where your level of comfort is. No, it's not a fine line between... No. Oh, I see. You're saying there's a fine line between this and arty BuJos. No, there's not. There's a massive difference. I've got 75 pages in this book. And of those 75 pages, apart from a couple where I've stuck photos in, the vast majority of my book has absolutely no art in it whatsoever. And most of the art that's in it, I wouldn't have added that if I hadn't been showing people how to do it on Friday. Most of this was added on Friday, with the exception of that drawing that I did last week. Up until Friday, a few stickers, that, and that sketch from the park was all I had in here. The only reason I've got so much in here now is because I did a load of it on Friday to show you guys how you could do it. But every single page of my bullet journal doesn't look like that. Well, those are empty, but, you know, it's not a fine line at all. There's a really big gap between making every single one of these pages. Ooh, I've got to do a brush letter title, and I've got to have this is media, so I think I'll draw some CDs going up the side of the page. That's crazy. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But that is artistic bullet journaling. And if you want to do that on every single page of your bullet journal, great. I don't. Some can get carried away, I guess. Well, so what if they get carried away? If they want to get carried away, let them get carried away. What's it got to do with you? I'm sorry, I don't see what the issue is there. If I want to draw in my bullet journal every day, why shouldn't I? If people want to do every single spread in their bullet journal as fancy, why shouldn't they? If people don't want to do it, why should they have to? You know? This is what this entire video is about. It's about doing your thing in your bullet journal. If you want to take your photos and instead of just sticking them in spaces, open a page and do a little mini scrapbook page, why shouldn't you? That doesn't mean you have to do every single page. This is called art journaling. No, it's not. I do art journaling. This is not art journaling. I teach art journaling. This is not art journaling. This is just journaling with added creativity. It might be you've taken classes on this very thing. Well, if that's what your teacher called art journaling and you paid for that, you were done. Because that's not art journaling. Art journaling is literally journaling in art form. It's not adding a few bits of paper to a bullet journal. Completely different thing. I don't want to worry about doing it if I don't want to. Yeah, exactly. And that's the point. If you're in the mood to do it, you should have the space to be able to do it. You should have the freedom to be able to say, you know what? Today I feel like doing a really arty spread for my daily log. And the rest of the week, or the rest of the year, you might say, I'm not doing that again. That's way too much work. Well, if it was free, you were still overcharged for it. Because it's still not art journaling. The whole point of this is that you have to find what works for you. Stop looking at what everybody else is doing on Pinterest. Stop trying to measure up to what everybody else says is art. There is no specific thing that is art. A fine artist would look at that and go, that's a phone doodle, mate. That's not an illustration, that's a phone doodle. Comparison is the thief of joy. There you go, Burgess. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. So it's about who writes in the book. Well, of course it is. It's your bullet journal. If it's not about who's writing in the book, who's it about? If you're making beautiful pages simply so that you can put them on Instagram and go, oh, look at my bullet journal, it's so pretty, then maybe you need a hobby. Maybe bullet journaling pages is your hobby. That's fine. Great. No problem. I love looking at pretty pages too. But if you're making your bullet journal about somebody else, then you're not bullet journaling. I did only writing and functional in my bullet journal for the first week, and you've kept at it. Yeah, I did. I did a couple of doodles, but literally everything I've put in here has been examples for somebody else. If it was just me, honestly, I think maybe I'd certainly have that, because that's a visual thing. I'm a visual thinker. So vision boards and stuff I would have in here. The occasional horrendous doodle in ballpoint, absolutely, that would be in here, because that's my jam. You know, I go and sit in the park with the dogs and I draw, or I sit and watch a film and I draw what's on the film. Absolutely. But this, for me, as a professional artist, isn't art. Okay? For you, it might be the best thing you've ever drawn. You're going to photograph it. You're going to put it in a frame on the wall. You think it's amazing because you don't normally do this. And that's fine. But you have to be able to understand that, oh, this is the best thing I've ever done. And then you look at somebody else's and it's like way better than yours. And you're like, oh, mine sucks now. No, it doesn't. It's still the best thing you've ever done. You can't keep comparing it to everybody else. In fact, there's actually something in the bullet journal I read the other day. I think it was a quote from somebody else. I can't remember. But it says something along the lines of, you can't keep comparing yourself to other people. You can only compare yourself to you. So compare what you've done today to what you drew 6 months ago and go, huh, look at that. I've got better at drawing trees. How about that? You spend way too much time judging yourself, Grace. Way too much time. Not only do you spend time comparing to other people, you spend time judging yourself. Oh, mine doesn't go on Instagram, it's too messy. Dude, look at the state of mine. Does mine look beautiful and laid out and pretty to you? No. Does it go on Instagram? Yes, because I'm putting it there as an example to people to go, look, your bullet journal doesn't have to look pretty. I'm sure there will be tape and stickers at some point, and definitely an inspirational spread or two. but I don't want to lose focus on the daily pages. That's exactly it for me, Hannah. That's exactly it for me. If I felt that I needed to set up every single page beautifully, or every single week beautifully, or every single or every single anything before I could do anything else, I'd be like, holy cow, I'm not doing this. Whoosh. I don't want to have that. I don't need that kind of stress in my life, dude. Cody's bullet journal is a hot mess. Scribbles, grease stains, unfinished tasks, doodles, scribble, everything. She's got dog-eared pages, the works, and she posts hers on Instagram. I look for messy BuJos. Oh, there's a messy BuJo hashtag. Oh, I didn't know that. Hot mess BuJo. Oh, we need to start that. If that isn't a hashtag already, Hannah, we need to start it. That's going in here on my daily log. If that isn't already a hashtag, we need to start one. Cody, I will expect to see your next post. Where the hell is my today? I've lost my sticker. There we go. My sticker was caught up. That's why I couldn't find it. Ooh. Note. Hashtag hot mess BuJo. Hey, Mimi. Mine goes on YouTube, just my Insta isn't for planning. Right. Yeah, the way you said it, it sounded more like you weren't putting it on Instagram because it was a mess. Which is how I read it. Trouble of reading text. How long do I keep my journals? I've got all my journals dating back to God knows when. The ones before 1996? No, 1998 are in a box at my mum and dad's. Because I boxed them all up when I left university and I never went back and got that box. It was in the loft when I went to collect all my stuff and we didn't have time to do it. But everything else I've written since 1998 is here in my blanket chest. Don't ask me how many books I've got because I've got 3 blanket chests full of them. I think I'm the only person that I've seen in our group who has as many journals as Journal CEO. Now she's crazy. She goes through one of these in a month. I don't know how she does it. That's crazy making. That is going some. I mean, I'm up to page 75 in this book in a couple of weeks, but finishing the entire book in a month, I mean, like, she's got big writing though. She writes like 3 words on a line, so. And also messy BuJo. Okay, I'm going to put that down as well. I didn't know about these hashtags. I need to add those, absolutely. Because it's not that it's messy, it's just that it's not arty. It's not, you know, everything doesn't have to be written precisely. Everything doesn't have to be beautifully drawn out. I mean, I use a ruler for that. That's pretty amazing. That's about it. Ryder doesn't even use a ruler for his straight lines. So I think we're all right there. More creative things you can do. How about, here's another one from Ryder. What if you like to write poetry? Because remember what we said at the beginning? Not all creativity is art. Maybe you don't like doing arty visual stuff, but you quite like writing really bad angsty poetry. Who doesn't? Well, fine. Have a page where you write some bad angsty poetry. If you don't want anybody to see it, you can also always tab the pages together with a bit of washi tape so only you can see it. Or you can paperclip them together or whatever. The advantage being that, especially if you're using your bullet journal for personal and work, this is something that comes up. I can't remember if it's in the book or one of his videos, but he talks about, like, if you have to go to a client meeting and people are like, well, I don't want my personal stuff in my bullet journal available for my clients to see if I'm in a meeting. And he says, well, just start a new page where all the information for that client goes. And then the only page that client sees is that page. They're not going to see the rest. Minimalist bullet journal and minimalist BuJo is a thing. Yeah, it is. I've seen that one. Most of it isn't actually minimalist. But I don't consider this minimalist either. I consider this messy and haphazard, and I throw whatever I want in it, but I wouldn't class this as minimalist. But that's handy for people who do the minimalist thing. And that's what you use, because most people wouldn't think my BuJo was messy. Well, it doesn't matter what other people think of your BuJo as. If you feel it's messy, then it's messy. Unless, of course, you're one of these people who've got beautifully calligraphied layouts and everything, and it's all done beautifully. It took you 5 hours and you still say, oh, but it's not perfect. Then I'm just like, yeah, go away. I don't have time for that. But if if you're looking at it and going, well, it's not messy, I guess it depends what you class as messy. I class this as just, this is messy. Some people class this as quite organised. And again, is it messy because it's untidy? Is it messy because the handwriting's bad? Is it messy because you're a perfectionist and you think it's messy? That kind of stuff, you know? Your handwriting is tidy and it's simple. Yeah, so for you, yeah, absolutely. If it's really simple, you don't have loads and loads of stuff on a page, you've just got a few things, and your handwriting is really nice and tidy, mine certainly isn't, then yes, I can see why you would call that minimalist rather than messy. Absolutely. Pro of going overseas to study, I'm going to write my angsty poetry in Norwegian so nobody can understand it. Oh, there's something creative you can do. Translate stuff into another language. If you're learning a language, if you have a language that you very rarely use, if you know several languages but you don't get the chance to play with them very often, if you have a native language or English is your second language, English is a foreign language for some people too. Why not translate your bad angsty poetry or your quotes or whatever into something else? Risha, you're learning kanji, aren't you? Aren't you learning Japanese? So why not practice your Japanese in your bullet journal? Write out an English quote and try and translate it into Japanese. Doesn't matter if it's right or wrong, it's practice. But it's creative. Because kanji is drawn. It's not written in the style that it's not written like Western writing. It's creative for us. People say my BuJo is organised, but to me it feels messy. Oh yeah, I had somebody comment on my bullet journal the other day. Oh, I couldn't be this organised, and I'm like, dude, if this is organised, you got trouble. This is only organised to me. Yeah, you could. Why not? When you write your titles in, write them in English, but then when you've got time, go back and translate them into kanji. So you can start learning bits and pieces, because repetition is the best way to learn, right? Somebody asked me on my plan with me yesterday, why have you got stuff in your head? I've got stuff in my head because I've been repeating it to myself for the last 14 days. The 1st of July, I got a notification on my phone saying Maddie's vax are due after the 14th. And I wrote that on my monthly. And every review, twice a day, every reflection, twice a day, every day, I've seen that written down. So for the last 2 weeks, you know, the first thing I did when I woke up on the 15th was go, oh, I better make sure I make Maddie's appointment today because it's the 15th. It's in the front of your mind because it's about the mindfulness thing. It's about being aware, living rather than doing stuff. I'm not particularly artsy, but I like to doodle. Yeah. Some people like to just phone doodle. Why not have a page specifically set up? You know, a lot of these books have got several bookmarks. Mine don't have any because I've just ripped them out. But if you like to phone doodle, why not have a page in your bullet journal that is dedicated to phone journals? Or you could use the inside covers. Or these useless pages that don't really do anything. Sorry, I've got a address there. Or start at the back. And you just use the back of your book. Lots of people like just doing quick doodles. And if the thought of drawing straight into here fills you with dread, and I get it, you know, some people are beginners, some people are perfectionists, and I haven't got time for that. But if you are a beginner, it can be very daunting to say, oh, I'm just going to turn the page and draw in my bullet journal. That's very daunting. Absolutely. So why not take a piece out of another book and draw on that in your bullet journal? Stick it on, bit of washi tape, stick it in, draw on that. It's no longer permanent. So you're going, oh, well, I can always take it out if I don't like it. But hey, guess what? If you do like it, you can leave it in there. You can stick the bottom edge down. Or you can stick it down with some Pritt stick. You could use it as a tip-in. You could take it out of this page and go, oh, I really like that, actually. I think I'll use that for my August front page. Maybe I'll use that. I'll put that there. And I'll write August really nicely over here. Or I'll print it out on the computer so it looks lovely. And there we go. I'll just put that here. Love the doodles in the back of my book. Well, this is from a colouring book. I cut out bits from a colouring book and I put them on the end pages so that if I ever feel like colouring. I'm not a big colourer. I'd rather draw something than colour. But occasionally I'm listening to a podcast or something and I need to doodle to focus. And if I can't really doodle what I'm listening to, then I will prefer to colour. I also do it when I'm on the phone to people. I colour things in when I'm on the phone. I draw triangles and stars and things and I colour them in because it helps me focus, because when I'm on the phone with someone I don't have anything to look at. I don't have a face to look at. So I get really distracted. I'm like, oh, squirrel. Oh, I'm sorry, did you say something? So I've been known to forget. I've been known to literally have my phone in my hand and get so distracted that I put it down in mid-conversation. And it's only when somebody calls me on my other phone and goes, hey, you hung up on me. And I'm like, was I on the phone with you? I'm so easily distracted, it's ridiculous. That's why when I do phone conversations, I put them on loudspeaker. That way, if I put my phone down and I get distracted, I can hear the person going, did you forget about me again? Are you still there? How about writing short stories? Or, here's one for writers. Burgess is a writer. She'll like this. I bet she's got loads of ideas for... Here's a video you could do, Burgess, actually. Creative writing exercises that you could do in your bullet journal. We used to do some, like, you'd take a picture and you'd describe the picture. So you'd take a photograph from somewhere and then you'd write a description of the photograph as if you were writing it in a book. Characters, ideas. Coming up with characters. Who are they? Who are their family? What do they like? What are their hobbies? Where do they work? All that kind of stuff. Fleshing out ideas. Because it's not about, oh, I'm going to create a character that I'm going to write a story about. It's about learning to be able to create a character, give them a world, and say, right, this woman, how old is she? What does she look like? What does she like to wear? What are her pet peeves? Why does she always wear flat shoes? You know, does she have plantar fasciitis? Is she lazy? Is she like me and she'd just fall over if she wore high heels? What is it that makes her her? That's an excellent writing thing. Added bits of conversation that you wanted to use. Yes, imaginary conversations, imaginary letters. If you don't feel that creative, conversations you've heard. This goes back to, was it Grace suggested stuff that your kids say that's funny. Overheard on the subway. There's a whole hashtag all over the world. Overheard in New York, overheard in London. You know those snippets of conversation that are completely out of context and they are either really tragically sad or absolutely hilarious because you don't know what the conversation is. I love those. Hey, Brenda. Oh, first time catching a live. Well, you're lucky to catch a live. I wasn't planning on doing a live today. Let me check my list and see. Oh, another one for people who like to do creative, imaginative type stuff, but you're not writers or artists. Puzzles, guys. Puzzles. Print out a Sudoku, a difficult one that'll keep you busy for a while, and put it in one of your pages, or tuck it in the back of your book if you prefer. If you go through one a day, maybe tuck it in here or stick it to there and do that. When you finished it, take it out, put in a new one. Crossword puzzles, word searches, colouring pages. You don't have to just have colouring pages here. If you find a bit of a colouring page, why not stick it in your book? And if it's a whole thing, like I've got some examples here. Here you go. What about a couple of different ideas? You could take something like this and just cut out, and if you don't want to cut up your colouring books, just photocopy them or scan them and print them or trace over them. You can do whatever you want. Maybe you don't want all of this because it won't fit in your book. Well, what about just cutting out this bit? Just cut it out like a sticker and stick that in your book. You're already using my Sudoku tip. A page flag marking your fun page. Fantastic. If you go through them really fast, you know you can buy little field notes size puzzle books. You could pop that in the back of your book, so you've always got a puzzle book with you. I'm sorry, I've got a dog hair up my nose. Give me a second. I'll find a tissue. There we go. Sorry about that. Fact of life. What about something like this? Okay, you could cut one strip of that out and use it as a page border for a bit of journaling. It doesn't have to be amazingly artistic or drawn by you to decorate your page. And every page does not have to be decorated. This is quite dense, this one, but look at these. Here's some ideas. So this one is create some more topiary shapes. So what if you just cut out these and stuck them on your page and said, okay, when I've got time, I'm just going to doodle some plants or trees, or, you know, maybe you do the topiary shapes in leaves. But just because you do that on one page, and this, again, I can't stress this enough, just because you do that on one page doesn't mean it has to be on every page. Please remember that. If you want it to be on every page, go for it. If you want to do it in advance of every page, do it. But don't feel pressured to A, do it perfectly, B, do it all the time, C, do it before you can even start writing your daily log for the day. It's not necessary. All this stress, again, it's just adding what Ryder calls friction. Now, if that friction is good friction, and having these little doodles in your book will give you somewhere where you can just doodle when you're on the phone, because that's what you like to do instead of searching for a post-it note, and then you'll have a little doodle in your book, then fine. What's wrong with that? But it doesn't have to be all the time. And if it's creating friction, if you feel like, oh, I haven't got time to do this, oh, it's taking too much time out of my day, oh, I'm out of ideas, I don't know what to do, then that is too much friction. That is bad friction. You want enough friction in your bullet journal that it gives you pause. It gives you time to stop. It gives you time to think. See, this is an example. Here we go. This is an example of thinking about it in different ways. Cody's just said, I don't do art or creativity in my bullet journal at all because it distracts me too much. Lies. Did you or did you not draw something from a dream that you saw in your bullet journal? Yes, you did. Just because you don't call it art or creativity doesn't mean that's not what it is. So look for those things that you do, logging your dreams, writing down your you call those visual reminders. They're art to you. But you just said you don't do art or creativity in your bullet journal, but you put visual reminders in. That's still creative. No. Just because they're not art doesn't mean they're creative. This is the whole point of this video, Cody. You can do creativity without doing art or being artsy or having it look beautiful. Yeah, you doodle more than you do art. Right. Some people would call that picture of the park that I drew art. All art is not creative. All creativity is not artsy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Photoshopping somebody else's photo to have a hat on, I don't think is that creative. Well, I suppose it is if you drew the hat. But, you know. But you can be creative without... Just because cutting this out and sticking it in my bullet journal and colouring it in isn't art doesn't mean it's not creative. You can't call it creative or art because then you'll go all out on it. Well, that's healthy boundaries. A healthier boundary would be able to say, okay, well, on this page, if I do it, it's okay. But if I do it on this page, which is for something else, it's not okay. So I'm not going to do it on this page. I'm just going to do it here. That's the point of this. It's not about making an artistic bullet journal. It's about having the freedom to say, you know what? I feel like doing a collage today. I'm going to do a collage. I found this too distracting to do back here when I was on page 50, when I actually did this. So I moved forward in my book. I've got one here. Look, all of these pages are blank. This is all blank pages. Because doing this in the middle of doing all of this would be way too complex. But the chances are I'll be done with this by the time I get to this part of the book. So all I'll do is go, you know, righty, 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 righty. Oh, I did a collage there. Okay, next page. Da, 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 da. Do a two-page spread and clip it together so you don't see it every time you open the book. Yeah. If it's really, really distracting, and Cody is a special case. She has ADD. So I do understand. She's got my squirrels, but on a lot of coffee. If you imagine my crazy squirrels with zero attention span and a lot of caffeine, that's where she's coming from. So I totally understand that. But again, it goes back to this thing. If you don't feel like you can put creativity into your bullet journal and have it work for you, then that is up to you. That doesn't mean your book is somehow wrong or less than. Ryder doesn't put creative stuff in his book either. He has an occasional design sketch. He writes poetry. I get the feeling he writes bad angsty poetry, which I just find really funny. That goes in there. I haven't finished that page yet. If you know that it's not going to work, absolutely, leave it out. You do your art somewhere else. You don't stop yourself doing art because it doesn't go in your bullet journal. You do it in different ways. I have ADHD and I've found that adding art afterwards helps. That's what works for me. Staring at a completely black and white, very organised, functional page distracts me, but too much art or creative stuff can distract you too. Absolutely. I'm exactly the same, Burgess. I don't have ADHD or ADD, but I have bouncy squirrels and they do get distracted. This kind of stuff isn't distract me. This is enhancements, and that's okay. But when I get to this kind of stuff, or, you know, these photos and stuff, these have been added usually after I'm well past this page. I think I was back here somewhere and I said, oh, I've got this really nice photo of Maddie. I found it sitting on my desk. I was like, oh, I really want to put that in my book. Where have I got? And I just flipped through my book till I found the first space it fitted in and I stuck it there. This page is long finished. It was done and dusted and coloured in long before I put that photo on there. But that doesn't mean I can't rule off that bit of page and put a photo for today and today's date and write about it. Just to fill up that space in my book if I want to. Do you remember having to do that at school? Did anybody else have to do that at school, where you'd be like, you'd fill up your book and you'd get to the end of your book and you'd say, Miss, I need a new book. And they'd make you go back and fill in anything that was more than 2 lines. And you'd end up with this short story that was like on 75 different pages. I hated that. And I used to get it a lot because I had such tiny writing. I'm surprised they didn't make me go back with a different coloured pen and write on every other line. I do all my art in a different book. Yeah. Some people need to do that, and that's totally okay. Some people are okay with doing that in 2 separate inserts in one traveller's notebook. That's what I used to do for years. Doesn't work for me either. This is working. For me. If it doesn't work for you, that's totally up to you. But if you find, say you've got this 400-page Moleskine, right? You don't want to start another book for journaling or writing or whatever it is that you like to do. Well, guess what? There's 2 sides to a book. Why not use the front for your bullet journaling? Nice and simple, maybe an occasional sticker, but nothing fancy. And then, oh, today I feel like sketching, so I think I'll just turn my book over and I'll sketch. Why not? Why not do your writing or your creativity or your fun stuff at the back where it's not going to affect any of this? That's another way of doing it, especially if you've got one of these big, thick, chunky books. The Tomo River paper books are good for that because there's so many pages in them. They're really thin, but there's loads of pages. Similarly, if you do long-form journaling, you could do it that way. Instead of having, you know, you could have your bullet journal at the front, you know, business at the front, party at the back, right? A mullet journal. I've just invented the mullet journal. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was funny. Mullet journal. Business at the front, party at the back. Oh my goodness me. Come on, that was funny. Oh dear. Hello, Miss Maddie. Hi. Hi, Stinky. How you doing? This is what you're laughing at, Mum. You sound like you're having fun. Are we having fun? Am I having fun without you? I'm sorry. Oh, rub the nose. Hi. Mullet journal. That's mine. I'm trademarking that one. I'm going to do an Instagram video for that one. Mullet journal. Business at the front, party at the back. In fact, I might have to start that. Just because it's funny. Oh dear. Anyway. Oh God, could this stream get any longer? I was going to be on for 10 minutes. How long are we on now? An hour? 2 hours? Oh, I'm so sad. Let me have a quick look at my list and see if there's anything. Oh, use highlighters. Use highlighters and coloured pens. Did I mention that one at the beginning? Yeah, I think I did. If you don't want anything distracting, but you like colour, why not just use a different pen every day? Especially if you use fountain pen, people. Put in a puzzle. Do a page of school doodles. Do you remember when you used to doodle on the back of your notebooks or your folders or your pencil case or whatever? You doodle peace signs and bubble writing and all that kind of stuff. Snoopies. I bet you used to doodle Snoopies, didn't you, Burgess? I did crack myself up with that one. It's not often I make myself laugh, but I do like that. The Mullet Journal Method, a book of 70s hairstyles. It was 80s, wasn't it, the mullet? Wasn't the mullet from when they had the hippie hair of the 70s and they all had to get it cut, so they all had it short at the front and then a ponytail at the back? Book of really bad hairstyles. They were 80s, yeah. I thought they were. Wham. I blame Wham. And the curly perms and highlights. Ugh. Oh dear, what were they thinking? Illustrator, take some sketch notes. Did I mention that one? I did. Add some washi tape. Super simple. Turn the page and do anything creative you can think of. There you go. Turn to the next page, do something creative. And when you're finished, turn to the next page. Or even when you're not finished, because, like, think of it like collections. I mean, you've got collections back here. I've got a collection here of things to post. This page isn't finished. It's not even started, really. I'm still not filling up that page because I'm going to use it. I'm still adding stuff to it. So treat it like that. It doesn't have to be finished. You have to sit down and do an entire creative spread all in one go. Dude, I think I had a mullet at one point. Admittedly, mine was spiky and looked very much like Patricia Morrison from Sisters of Mercy. But it was still a mullet. At the end of the day, short at the front, long at the back. I often doodle something creative next to my daily headers. Yeah, why not? Fill up that little bit of space. That's a perfect space for doing Zentangling and stuff. Just draw a box around your header so you can see your header and doodle around the outside. Didn't we all? Oh. Right, that's it. If that's not enough ideas to keep you going with a little bit of creativity without feeling like your entire bullet journal has to be full of art or elaborate spreads or whatever, then I can't help you any more than that. And by the same token, if you're a Cody and you can't have that kind of stuff in your bullet journal because it would distract you and you would spend the next 7 days Zentangling instead of being organised, get it away from your bullet journal. Have another book. Have a book in another room that you go and do that stuff with. Draw mandalas, yes. Oh, there's mandala apps that you can do on your phone, isn't there? That's another way of being creative that doesn't have to be in your bullet journal. Get an app on your phone, a colouring app or a mandala app or a puzzle app or whatever. Put it on your phone or your iPad or whatever or even on the computer, and do it that way. And then treat it like something that you do that's not part of this. Get a hobby. Learn to sketch. Get a book. Read a book. That's creative. Oh, there's so much more to creativity than making art. Excellent quote that I can't remember where it came from. Absolutely everything that you call life was created by somebody with no more talent than you have. I think maybe it's intelligence, not talent. But either way, it's still meaningful. It's still, you know, everything that you see around you was designed by somebody. Invented by somebody. Somebody went, hey, wouldn't it be really cool with these disposable pens if we could, like, clip them onto our shirt pockets so we didn't lose them? And hence, the clip on a pen was born. That's still creativity. Creativity is just problem solving under another guise. I believe I've said that a few times in previous videos. Recently started crochet in part for creativity and to keep your hands busy. Now there's another creative outlet. What about if you are somebody who designs your own crochet type blankets or patterns or whatever, or embroideries? You could do those in your bullet journal. Or you could simply keep a record of the patterns of things you make, or photos of things you've made, or even, what about having a page, okay? Here's all the information about where you got the pattern, you know, got it on Ravelry or whatever, and who it's by and all that kind of stuff. Maybe even a printout of the pattern, or a write out of the pattern if it's like small and easy to do. Leave a space for a photo of your finished project. And how about taking bits of the yarn that you use and sticking it into the book? Or the labels off the yarn that you use and put those in your book so you know what yarn it was you used and what colours you used. That's creative too, you know. It doesn't have to be an amazing art page. Stuff that is linked to other creative things that you do is also creative. I always used to keep pattern notes in my book. Yeah. Well, if you're working on a pattern where you've got to follow the pattern specifically, and you're forever losing that bit of paper that tells you what bit of the pattern you're up to, or if you're like my gran, she used to have patterns and she used to mark on with a star where she was up to on the pattern. And of course, a lot of these patterns are, you know, you get halfway down and then it goes, it's like go back to page 102 and go from star and repeat to the end for 52 rows, you know. And she had all these little gate marks where she was counting her rows and stuff. Why not put that in your bullet journal? Why not put that as part of your daily record? Is that not part of your day? If it's part of your day, why not put it in your daily record? So when you're sitting doing your knitting in the evening, you go, okay, so I'm just going to write knitting. Let's see, let's go back to yesterday. Where's yesterday? And where did I get up to? Oh yeah, line 42. And I'm on the 3rd repetition. So I'm just about to start number 4. Off we go. There's number 4 done. There's number 5 done. There's number 6 done. So now I'm up to 46. Why not just keep that in there? So every day you got a record of what you made. Knit one, purl one. Knit one, purl one, drop one, slip one. Isn't that how it goes? My mum's an avid knitter, just letters and numbers. Yeah. I can knit, but it's too much. It's like, I can do basic maths, like 1 + 1 = 2, but I can't do long division, okay? I'm kind of like that with crochet. I can crochet and I can knit, but I can't follow a pattern. I can chuck stuff in a microwave, but I can't follow a recipe. It's too complicated. It's too much. What was that? I just saw a really good suggestion. My best creative idea for the bullet journal, a collection of ideas I want to do or create. Yeah. A list of creative projects. There's a creative project. A list of creative projects that you want to do that are nothing to do with your bullet journal. Where's that suggestion that I just saw? I do sketches of my Minecraft builds in my BuJo, says the woman who says she doesn't do anything arty in her BuJo. You just like contradicting yourself, Cody. This is art. This isn't. This is design. This isn't art. This is craft. This is this. This is that. You're so compartmentalised, girl. Where was that suggestion? Didn't somebody say something about gardens? I could have sworn I saw somebody put something about gardens and I can't find it now. You don't call it art, that's squared. It's not art, it's creative. You're just pigeonholing for the sake of it. It's still creative. If it involves making something, it's creative. Ooh! I wish I had somebody to play this game with. Do you remember that game you used to play on dot grid paper when you were a kid? Where you'd have like 12 people sitting around one page of squares. And it was called squares. And you filled in one line between each one. And every time you completed a box, you get to colour in the square and the person with the most colours at the end won. That's how my mum and dad used to keep us quiet on road trips. Garden plans, thank you. I knew somebody said garden stuff. I couldn't find it. Kit DeBran, is that right? Kit said garden plans. Yeah. Garden plans, notes on your plants, nature journaling, garden journaling. I'm sure people do keep garden journals, don't they? Amber talked about having a garden journal because she does planting and, if you've got an allotment or something. Oh, I did pronounce it right. Okay. Dubran. That's a nice name. Is that Irish? Dubran? That sounds kind of Celtic-ish. It's probably not, but it sounds it. Yeah, anything like that. Decorations, if you want to do even Christmas decorations, okay? You're not ready to put your decorations up yet, but you're feeling really itchy and you want to put your decorations up, but you can't because it's only like September. Why not draw out your decorations or make plans for your decorations in your bullet journal? Feed that creative itch with something else. It is Irish. There we go. It's the BH that gives it away. BH is quite common in Gaelic, isn't it? She's got, that's how Cody keeps structure. She's got all these little things in little boxes, and if you move any of the boxes, she's screwed. She has no idea what's going on. And for God's sake, don't put anything in the wrong box. But yeah, if it works for you to compartmentalize, I know that I take the mickey out of you, Cody. I admire the way Cody plans. I don't understand how she can possibly do it with all the different things that go on in her brain. But if that is what works for you by compartmentalising things, then nothing wrong with that. In fact, if you think about it, collections are nothing more than saying, okay, well, now I've got several pages with media recommendations on. I suppose I better put that all in a box together on a collection. I tried to draw a maple leaf on Canada Day and it looked like a red bush. A messy red bush. Yeah, as long as you know it's a maple leaf, who cares? A list of plants that are going to go in your garden. Yeah. You could make a mini calendar type, a running calendar of like, depends how, I mean, the guy next door, he's got lists of when his stuff is due for pruning and what needs bringing in when, and what needs padding down out of the frost and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, you know, bullet journal, mate. Squares can be art. Squares can indeed be art. Right. I've been here for far too long. You've got me all worked up and on my high horse about, God damn it, it doesn't have to be art to be creative. And stop being so damn perfectionist and comparing yourself to others. I find it genuinely saddens me as someone who teaches creativity when somebody says stuff like, oh, I can't draw. Or, oh, I'm not creative. I can't do that sort of stuff. Because there is always something. A friend of mine is absolutely adamant that she will tell you to your face she does not have a creative bone in her body. Not one. And yet she can make vegan dinners out of absolutely nothing with 0 recipes. I find it hard enough to put beans on toast together. And I couldn't do that without a microwave. She can create entire spreads of vegan food from nothing, with no help whatsoever from an outside source. Tell me that's not creative. Go on, I dare you. What you just have to do is find your comfort zone. And it doesn't matter if your comfort zone is, oh, this is actually going to be an art piece that I'm going to possibly put on Etsy. Maybe I won't put that in my bullet journal. Or, sod it, I'm going to doodle some stuff while I'm on the phone. That is up to you. You have to find your own level, and you can't compare your level of creativity to somebody else's. Because even if you do start comparing yourself, and you are an expert at comparing yourself to somebody else's creativity, you're comparing something that is entirely subjective. Because what I consider creativity, and what Joe Blogs considers creativity, and what the woman up the road considers creativity might be completely different things. But if it's creative, it's creative. If you're making something, even if all you're making is a mess, that is still creative. And you can quote me on that. Even if all you're making is a mess, it's still creativity. Evelyn, oh, I'm just about to wrap up. But I have been ranting about creativity for quite some time. So you've got plenty to catch up on. Evelyn, by the way, is doing One Book July videos in Dutch as well as English. So if you want to check out her channel, click on her name there and go subscribe. She's not got very many subscribers. I don't know why. Maybe it's because she took a 3-year break. Maybe that's it. She does tarot and all sorts, but at the moment she's concentrating on One Book July. So go and subscribe to her, especially if you're Dutch and you like listening to stuff in your own language. Or if you're learning Dutch. And if you speak a foreign language and you're happy doing a video in your foreign language about One Book July or the bullet journal or whatever, and you want to put it on the One Book July list, we have a dedicated playlist for foreign language videos. So just send one of us the link and we'll add it to the list. Yeah, lovely to see you, Evelyn. Sorry you missed us. I've been ranting for 2 hours about how if you're making it, it's creative. God damn it. It's nothing you haven't heard before. But I'm very passionate about it, okay? I'm very passionate about it. If you haven't drawn since you were 10 years old, expect to draw like a 10-year-old. And work from there. And if you don't like drawing, that's fine. Go and play word search or do a crossword puzzle or colour something in or read a book, whatever. It's all creativity. The occasional rant is good for the mental health. Well, the first version of this video was a lot shorter, but it didn't have any sound, so I had to do it live. And when you get me all riled up and start going, oh, well, this isn't art and this isn't creative and this isn't this and this isn't that, then I'm going to be like, excuse me. Too many things about bullet journal is in English, so I'm messing up my Dutch. I can't switch between the languages. Well, maybe you can check out Evelyn's videos after One Book July is finished, or once you're settled into your bullet journal. She does quite a few videos in Dutch. So turns out I couldn't remember the word for goal. Yeah. It sucks when you have to go and look up something in your own language. You're like, I should know this. I appreciate your rants. They're good for me. Well, this one was all about you. You started this one. This is Inlay's fault. I don't want to do fancy spreads, but I want to be a bit creative. What can I do? And boom. Light the match and off goes Ro. Do you like my mum and cover your calendar with stickers? Yeah. You absolutely use stickers for your appointment. Those little cute stickers, the planner stickers, are great for that. Especially if you like the little cute Japanese emoji type people. What are they called? Chibis. Why write dentist appointment when you can put in a little picture of somebody with a bad tooth? One thing I regret is not taking the opportunity to learn languages as a kid. Oh God, yeah. It's so much easier as a child. I'm not going to apologise. I think this is good for all of us. Well, it's not good for me. I'm really hot. And I didn't get my afternoon off. I was going to have an afternoon off. And instead you've got me on here ranting about creativity. God damn it. Right. I am going to stop now, though, because I've got an appointment at 7 with Burgess. You still on for later, Burgess, yeah? And then that gives me 3 hours to go and have some tea, maybe do a little bit of sketching or listen to a podcast or something. Maybe I'll get an hour or so off. Mullets! Yes. Oh, Evelyn, you missed it. I invented the Mullet journal. Right? You've got your bullet journal here. You do your bullet journal here, but you want to do something arty. So you turn your book over and you do your arty bits here. Business in the front, party in the back. I'm sorry, I still think that's funny. I've got to go and take a break. It's my day off. Yesterday was my day off. I worked all day. Today's been my day off. I've worked all day. Maybe I'll get a bit of a day off tomorrow. What are we doing? Oh, we're supposed to do live tomorrow. Maybe. Oh, I could probably film another video tonight. Quickly. Because I've got another one lined up that I could put up tomorrow, and then I don't have to do a live tomorrow. And then I can have tomorrow off. Right. That's it. Go away, all of you. I've had enough.